Welcome back to the podcast. It all comes back to astrology. We are your hosts, Abbie Brash and Lindsay Coffee. And today we have a fun little episode. We're starting by taking a trip down memory lane. Would you say that, Linz?
Yes. And our episode today is called Thespians Are the Original Wellness Girlies.
When you first pitched this to me, I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I'm really excited to talk about this because Lindsay, you're a theater girl, and I have only just become a theater girl within the last 3 years. And so this, I had no concept of what the hell you were talking about. Like, what do you mean wellness? Wellness is theater. What do you mean? So this episode is Lindsay answering a question that I've had
Mhm.
for a little while now.
Yeah, I want to connect the dots and I want to shout out to theater girls everywhere. That when everyone was like, thespian, really, you were working on your inner child in front of a crowd and not in front of a crowd. Should I launch into it?
Absolutely. Please launch us.
A little bit of background. I've done theater since I was a small kid and theater through college. And once the wellness world started to explode, talking about like meditation and connecting with self and like emotional regulation, everything was just verbatim what all of my theater professors had trained us to do through college. And so I just thought it was such an interesting connection between the two. And it's just so fascinating that it's like these practices, the improv games, things that you would do to prepare the like mind, body, soul for the stage. They are practices that are happening all over with the explosion of wellness on TikTok and Instagram and things that maybe other people thought were super weird. Now they're doing. They're doing the vocal work and they're doing like the massaging of the masseter muscle in your jaw to release tension. And it's like, man, I had whole classes on this and we were rolling around on the floor and everyone was like, why are they doing that? They are insane. Testing the boundaries of the social world.
I'm so excited to talk about it because I'm the opposite. I've like started in wellness and moved to theater.
Yeah.
And I find so many of the theater things I've done in improv to be so helpful for like my real life. And I'm like, why are people like doing this more for the like therapeutic reasons? There's a connection there. What were some of the
Yeah.
exercises that you did in theater, if you want to share?
Yeah, so before we would go on stage, one that's coming to mind is the golden ball meditation. And we could even run through it today, but it's the idea of you're standing in a circle. There's a lot of circles too happening always in the theater. We were never like facing the professor. It always felt like the entire class was always in a circle, which I think is also really symbolic. But we would stand, it was a lot of like holding hands, connecting to your fellow actors before going on stage. And it was to prepare like your mind for what you were about to do because nerves are super high before a performance. I imagine it's similar to playing a professional sport. You just have to prepare your mind and then your physical body. And so one of the exercises. It's a visualization. So it's not so much a meditation, but it's a visualization. And you imagine the golden ball of light. And it's supposed to be an incredibly warm sensation. And you're really imagining it. You're closing your eyes and you imagine that golden energy run down your head, across your eyes, across your lips, like down into your throat. And it's like circulating your throat and it's like warming your throat, warming your shoulders, warming your chest, down to your arms, down through your fingers, over your stomach, through your hips, thighs, knees, calves, into your feet. And then once you reach your feet, you imagine that cord connecting you down into the earth and
Wow.
then a cord up connecting you into the heavens. And so you're grounded in your energy because your energy is being anchored into the earth. Even your back tends to straighten when you're imagining this exercise. It's so crazy how like your mind can make your body even stretch out like that. And then after that exercise, it's truly amazing. Like once you have that visualization, you feel completely grounded in your body. That was one exercise we did. Another one, which is, I would be so curious to know if it was studied from like a scientific point, because I know frequency is like coming up a lot in these circles, or maybe I'm just on
These
this part of the
times.
internet these times.
This algorithm
This
is
algorithm.
feeding you that.
About how you're connecting to other people. Like even when you're singing, you're connecting, your heartbeat is syncing up with the other people in the choir, the other people in the band. Your heartbeat is usually also syncing up to the beat of the song, but like together. And so another exercise that I'm thinking about is we would all stand in a circle and it was counting from 1 to 20, but you were holding hands and you were waiting. One person would say 1 and you're just in complete silence.
I
Okay,
know this one.
Abby's
Yeah.
nodding like she's done
Sorry,
it.
I'm just excited. I'm just
So
excited.
you're holding hands, and like if Abby and I are doing it right now, it'd be like, okay, one of us has to decide. Maybe I started us off and I say 1. And
Two.
then
Well, you need more people than just two.
me and Abby are like, let me demonstrate.
One,
Party of 2.
two, three,
3,
four.
4. And it's like teaching patience. You're trying to kind of feel out when to say the next number. And it's just like an exercise to connect you with the people around you and then also to be so aware of your physical being, you're like your physical vessel.
It's so wild, like how you're doing this like meditation. I've done that whole like anchoring into the earth and like above you into the divine or whatever. And the fact that you're doing that for theater is so interesting to me. It's like, because
Yeah.
I guess with theater, yes, you want to be like really grounded in your body so that you can perform from an authentic place, if I'm correct in saying
Yeah.
that. But then at the same time, you also want to be connected to the people around you. So it's funny
Mm-hmm.
the like holding hands and we become kind of like one being.
Yeah.
It's very spiritual. I didn't like really
Yeah.
think about, I had no idea that theater kids were doing that backstage.
Well, that's what's so wild too. It's like I didn't know I was like performing these rituals. Like I just thought it was like this is a fun game. And now it's like this is an ancient technique to ground your energy and it's like whoa, like it's just so much more powerful than I think what we thought at the time. All of these games and these things that we were doing, it was really important I think because your body sort of was the vessel, like your body was the instrument. You needed to like tune your body in order for yourself to like be the best performer so that you were like in tune with each other and then like in tune with yourself. And so it's like the stage and like the sense of self, like you were the medium, you were the canvas, you were the paint set, you were the tool. And so through you came storytelling. So that's like the point of theater or plays or whatever. You're telling a story, and the story is coming through you, but you become sort of this vessel for storytelling or this vessel for a character that you needed to have a tuned body. You needed to have like a tuned clear, aligned mental space because that's like where you're going to best perform. But it's just like that emotional expression for you to be incredibly clear. You needed to have like a clear channel to do that.
It's giving like church, like when you're, or just like how in spirituality, or if people go to church or a place where they can connect with others while also connect to themselves. It's
Yeah.
like, what did my husband Dakota was saying the other day? Because we're not religious. I mean, I'm, an astrologer,
Yeah.
spiritual type person, but he's not religious. He didn't grow up religious at all, whereas I grew up going to Catholic church. We were driving by a church one day, and I was like, why do people go to church still? Like, I don't get it.
Mm,
And he was like, he said it so well. I even wrote it in my phone. He was like, church is another place you can go besides work to connect with others and have the same experience as them. And I'm like,
mm,
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, that's so true. It's like it doesn't have to be, yeah, shared belief, but it's interesting that theater involves that. Because yeah, when you do see a really good play or really good film and you're taken by the performance, it's not just the one person doing the one role, right? It's like you
Mm-hmm.
have to be connected with your scene partners, with, well, I'm thinking about improv by saying scene partners. I think that's
Yes.
correct. You have to be connected with the people and connected with the audience if it's a play, or and somehow with a film. I don't know. You're
And
the
with
one
the
who
film.
knows more
Well,
about
and
it, but
going off that, I think this is a great segue to what I was hoping we would talk about today. There was a phrase we learned in class It's really simple phrase, and I think it applies to life. And it's the best actor is the best reactor, which is such as life. Like when you're put into an improv situation, you can't decide what your partner, your scene partner, if there's two of you on a stage, is going to say. All you are in charge of is yourself and how you react to them. It's just like the self agency of like, how am I going to react in this situation? How am I going to tell this story in an honest way? And if I'm honestly responding with integrity, like that's all we can do. And that like can show how connected you are to your scene partner, how connected you are to the community, and like the best actors, if you notice on film, like especially in films, if you really start to look at who's not saying the lines but who is receiving the lines and listening to the lines, and how are they, like really amazing actors can receive information and you can watch. It's like our last episode where you're saying Fiero was jaw acting.
I'm just thinking about that.
There
Yeah.
could be so much in a response of the body or a response of even like responding with your words, but there can be such a beauty and authenticity in a really well trained actor who knows how to react. And I just think it's like such as life in any world situation. How you react is so telling.
Mm.
I think it compares to life in a few ways. One is through life, you are going to be put in difficult situations. And in that difficult situation, how you respond to that situation is your character, your the integrity of your character.
Mm.
And I think when you work on self, which the wellness trends, it's like all about working on the self. The value of that and the value of theater and the value of knowing self and taking it a step further of knowing that you have the ability to say something, you have the ability to speak up for yourself, you know yourself well enough, you are self-actualized enough to best respond in difficult situations. Like that's only going to help you, that's only going to help your family, that's only going to help the people around you. Like if you are clear and aligned in who you are and knowing that you are in charge of you and you are the power, like there's power within you. You're on the stage of life and knowing like you are in charge of your body, yourself, your mind, your heart, your soul. That's like only going to empower you to make better decisions and to better react in those difficult situations. And it's only going to better your community knowing, okay, I can take an action here. I can do something about this. I can move away. I can start the business I want to start. I can remove myself from a sticky situation. Like knowing that you have the power and the self agency to do that, you have the power to react in the best way that works for you is a key that many of us are like maybe just starting to realize. And some people already know this, but I think wellness and theater do a great way, or like they lend to that self journey, and that's only helpful.
I was curious, was there a moment when you realized the connection between wellness and theater, or was it kind of a thing that sort of slowly dawned upon you?
I mean, I think it exploded right after the pandemic, for sure. And that's where I think a lot of these like traditional techniques came into play. And when that started to become more online, that's when I guess I kind of realized like, oh, we were doing these same practices in college. We were doing these same techniques in high school. We were doing these same techniques beforehand.
You're like, I recognize that golden ball. I've
I
seen that golden
recognize
ball
that golden ball.
before.
Yeah.
I've felt that golden ball from my head to my toes. This isn't new. Isn't my first rodeo.
Yeah,
Oh,
literally.
it's funny, yeah, with the wellness industry. I feel like I was starting to dive into it like right after college. So for me, like 2015.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when, because I had studied film and I wanted to be a documentary filmmaker, and I did do some documentary filmmaking. I'm not going to discredit myself. I
Yeah,
did
you did.
that. Not for very long, but I'm still glad I did it. But I started becoming more interested in wellness and, drinking juice because my mental health was so bad. I was
Yeah.
like, I need some guidance and some stability. I'm going to try meditating. I'm going to take up yoga. What else did I do? That's how I got into massage and became a massage therapist because I
Yeah.
got a massage and I noticed how much it helped my nervous system. So I've kind of been weaving my way through the wellness industry for like 10
A
years.
long time.
But then I think around the pandemic is when I started to kind of move more away from trying things and more just like, okay, this is my job. I'm a professional. I became
Hmm.
less interested in it, more interested in theater.
Yeah.
But that's my experience with the wellness industry is being told to buy a juice cleanse, feeling like I need to go to Tulum and I still want to go to Tulum. I really do. I know it's like a touristy kind of, I
I
don't
think it'd
know.
be amazing.
Yeah, there's a retreat I really wanted to go on that was in Tulum, but it was so expensive and I was had no money
Yeah.
and I really wanted to go. Yeah, it's all about the retreats, the wellness retreats.
All about the retreats, and I like want to talk about that too because it's like what's authentic and what's not. But speaking of that, I'm going on a trauma informed yoga teacher certificate in Costa Rica, so I'm participating in the very thing that I'm like that we're, it's not perfect, and I think there's a lot of like,
I think there's value in it too, though.
and
You
there's
know, I
value.
think I think what I've learned as I've gotten older in my in my
In your
crone
youth,
era,
you are literally not in your crony.
in my crone era, I of 32 and a half, I've learned that everything in moderation. Literally,
Yes.
that's the secret. It shouldn't be a secret. It's probably not a secret, but it's kind of become a secret. Everything in moderation.
Yes.
Everything's nuanced. You know, it's like,
Oh my God, the people that are selling you like wake up at 5 a.m. I am machine every day. They are not human. We don't need to study them because we've been studying them enough. We need to take a break from those people. That's not
yeah.
nature. Nature is cycles. And so same with your moderation. It's like this time of the year or this time of my menstrual cycle or this time of whatever, like I'm not gonna freaking, I don't know, open a bowling alley. Like that's just not, I just can't. Like whatever the like thing is that you are.
What I'm saying is, I think it's great that you're going on a retreat to Costa Rica.
Oh yeah, no,
I
I'm so
think, I
excited.
think
I'm
if
like
you
really
were,
looking forward to
I think if you like went deep, deep, deep into debt and were doing it every year, I
it.
would
Yeah.
maybe be a little worried.
That's
But
the danger. That's the danger of
yeah,
it. That's the machine part of it. It's like the techniques
exactly.
and the retreats are so beautiful, but it's
Yeah.
just like you can't break your back and
When
break
you
your
throw
bank.
capitalism in there, capitalism loves to, spin us all
So,
into a crazy spiral of needing more and more and more to get
and
ahead.
to spiral us towards perfection. It's so crazy what's happening with social media and young people striving for something that doesn't exist.
I was watching birds yesterday because I was trying to kill time between clients and I was just sitting there and I didn't want to be on my phone. I was just watching birds and I was like, this is
Like real
awesome.
birds, like you're sitting by.
Yeah, I was watching this, there's some drama happening with some geese and I was just watching it and I was like, why do we need, has the internet become the way it is where it's constant stimulation? I'm like, this is so interesting to me. I'm like, birds, wow. This daddy
Yeah.
goose just flew off and left his wife, and the wife was just
Drama.
standing there like for like 10 minutes. She just stood there confused. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but
Because
I was enthralled. It was better than any Bridgerton episode I've watched in the last month. Okay, I'm sorry. It's such a
no, it's
dagger.
so true. I think there's like jokes on the internet about that. They're like, "Have you gotten into bird watching yet?" It's like, "Yes, I have." Yeah.
In your Crone era.
I think where like wellness can get lost in the sauce is that there's no real end goal. It just seems like people are trying to be on the graph going straight up until what? Like what why are you doing? Like the why feels like it's missing. That's not life. Life isn't a up graph like that. And it's just getting lost in the sauce. Like there's no goal, there's no stage. Like all the stuff before the theater and like in being in a band and whatever. It's like, okay, we're using these practices to self actualize and to clear ourselves and to align ourselves because I'm about to perform on stage for a show. I'm about to sing backup vocals for this new track from my friend's band. I'm about to, I don't even know, like start a business and I want to like be self actualized. I think that's like where we're getting lost in the sauce is like, why are you doing these things? Why are you doing all the wellness trends? Like, are you doing it just to do it, which is also okay, but there just feels like there needs to be some authentic goal that you're trying to reach. And it's not self perfection because I think that's the performative goal. I think that's the fake stage. I think that's the curtain. Like behind the curtain, what are we actually doing?
Wow. You're blowing my mind right now because I'm like
Like,
shit, I'm
are we
just
going to help the communities? Are we going to help each other? Are we going to build something good for Mother Earth?
because even
What
if the
are we doing that's like real and tangible and good for us in a
yeah.
in a in a what's the word? Like in a selfless way. Like if you're going to work on the self, great. That's also a kind of I don't know, but it's like what's the
Mm.
selfless thing in that too?
What I'm thinking about now is how like yes, like meditation and different wellness things can help calm your mind if you're an anxious person or help you to connect with yourself more deeply if you're constantly, you know, distracted or really caught up in the business of other people. It's like meditation is
Yeah.
helpful for calming your mind. So that can be a goal is getting it to be part of your routine. But something like, I mean, are juice cleanses still popular? I don't know if they are,
Yeah,
but
I think juice is ramping up. I'm a
is
juice
it
gal.
really? Okay, because I
Yeah, supposedly it's like I think I read somewhere that like the juice cleanse is Gen Z's version of avocado toast. Like everybody is like getting on Gen Z apparently for their juicing. I don't know. I'm a juice gal. I know you are. Like I think it's only beneficial.
yeah, I'm a smoothie gal. I'm a fiber girly. I've worked at two juice bars. I'm a professional smoothie maker. I have a professional smoothie background. I make a killer
She's
smoothie.
legit.
I make smoothie bowls every morning. The goal with
You
my
made me a smoothie bowl when I was out visiting you. That was like the best smoothie bowl I've ever had.
I can't go out to get smoothie bowls because mine are the best. And anything else, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
If anything, you should like put together a recipe book and put that online for people to learn from you.
You have to learn, it'd have to be a class. Like if you went to like Italy or Thailand and took a class, you'd have to come to my
Obsessed.
house and watch me do it because I don't write it down. I like have, it's
Oh
just,
my
that's
God,
the thing I'm
Abbie.
gonna pass on. That's my legacy, I think, is just a
This is
really
where we
creamy smoothie bowl.
I have an idea. We need to go to Tulum and we need to set up smoothie stations and you should open it
Us,
up for me to go and
yeah,
friends.
these white girls stomp into the beaches of Tulum. I'm gonna start my my own business. Yeah. Where was I going with this? Oh, but my smoothie bowls. So like when I started drinking juice, this is going to be embarrassing. I didn't really realize I would talk about this. But like so my mental health was in a pretty bad place straight out of college. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? I'm scared, you know, that whole thing. That was the underlying thing. And then anxiety and panic attacks were the outer manifestation and just mental illness in general. But I was like I feel like I was being pitched that like eating healthy would like solve all my problems. And
Mm,
like if I just ate well, then like it would cleanse like my mind and my soul. And
which does
so
help.
it does help. It's good to eat well, but
Yeah.
again, that's nuance too. There's no like
Mm,
perfect thing for each person. Every person's different. But at the time I was
yeah.
like, I need to drink juice. I need to make a smoothie with sea moss. I don't think sea moss was popular back then. Anyway, I'm really going on a tangent. But yeah, drank a lot of juice of like, I'm hoping I will like be elevated or I will have like the best mental, clear mental space. I think
Yeah.
that's where a lot of my wellness goals came from. But then it gets to a point where you're just like, I need to keep doing this to maintain some version of myself that I think I need to be. that's
Mm.
not actually
Sustainable.
sustainable, yeah, or necessary. Like it was like I
Mm.
was trying to do all these outer things to help something that wasn't necessarily going to be helped that way. I don't know if I'm making
You're
any
making sense. And
sense.
I think where this could lead into is like I should have said that earlier too. Like when I was like, what are we building? Healing is a huge element to wellness. And I think when you're on a healing path, that is you are building self and like intergenerational trauma and like all these things we're learning about ourselves. Like that is huge in moderation.
In moderation, and healed, in
Healed.
quotes, is a state that doesn't fully exist in the way that we think it exists, if that
Mm.
makes sense. But that's a whole other thing we can get into, but we can kind of,
It's almost like stages of like I healed this or I healed this. It just feels like I don't know. I think it can get dangerous when you're like in perpetual
yeah,
healing.
when do you accept that this is who I am and this is how I live my life and
And this
I
is
don't
my
need to
improvement.
improve. Yeah, or like I
Or
can
like,
improve these ways, but this is who I am at the core. I don't know.
yeah. And then also like, okay, I did like celebrating your wins. Like I am feeling better. I did do this thing. Like I am feeling like more mentally clear than I was 4 years ago. And like that's a win. I think as long as your why is clear in the wellness world, like why are you doing these things is the key. And when you're self-aware of like, I know that I'm have high anxiety, so I know that this helps. Then there's an answer. What's your stage? What's
I'll
your
give you my why.
performance? What's your goal?
The why, I make smoothie bowls every morning, and I was thinking about how I have no idea how much this is costing me because I buy the cacao nibs, I buy the $7
Uh,
granola, I
I,
buy,
I think I like support that. I'm like I always we need to have healthy stuff in our bodies,
well, I
especially
realized
America.
I was like, why am I doing this besides the fact that I just have been doing it for years? And I'm like, it brings me joy.
Yes.
Like, I love, I love, I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love feeling a little treat. It's my little treat in the morning. And maybe there's that part of my brain that's a little fixated on this is healthy. Maybe that's still active in my mind in a way that I'm not fully conscious of. But
Mhm.
overall, I love it. It's fun. And
Yeah.
that's the one wellness thing that I'm like
Oh my God, it's like the
probably taking it
joy.
to the grave.
It's the joy. Let us like get us back to joy.
I want you to leave smoothie bowls on my grave instead of flowers when you come to visit me. I want a
Like
bag of cacao nibs. I want
you need
a
like
yellow
a
mango.
you should do you know like gravestones, like you can do sculptures and stuff. You should do like a sculpture of like the perfect smoothie bowl, like off
with
the
with
side.
with me standing over my Vitamix with the tamper thing like
Or like you in statue form, but you're doing the recipe, and then at the very end, it's like statue you like sitting cross-legged, like enjoying the bowl.
me cutting the things off the mango. That brings me joy.
It's like Iroh from Avatar, who I love. That's so zen.
Yes.
He would do something like that, but with tea.
So I can't tell if I'm getting sick or not. So I've got a vitamin C drink and I'm like, it's my little golden ball of
Yes.
my little
Oh, I
golden
love it.
ball meditation drink.
Oh my God,
Um,
it's like your
this
literal,
is
it's like literally in a ball, like with the shape of that
this is
glass.
a this is a stemless wine glass. I don't drink, so I put drinks
Amazing.
I put drinks in my little stemless wine glass.
That looks delicious.
So when I started doing theater, I found that the theater exercises were really healing for me in where I was in my journey and for my mental health in a weird way, in a way that surprised me. But I'm curious how your thoughts with healing through theater.
Yeah, there's a lot of healing exercises in the performing arts that are incredibly healing. There's a lot of work around, well, like even vocally, like vocal coaches will talk about. all the stress that you hold, like massaging your jaw, the masseter muscle, how
Temporalis.
you and where.
Sorry.
Tell us.
Temporalis. So
What
they
is
got
that?
chewing muscles, little massage anatomy lesson. Chewing muscles here. If you bite down, I can't really see on Zoom, but here's some chewing muscles. Also, the sides of your head, like above your temple and to the back. If you bite
Yeah.
down and you feel a muscle
Hmm.
move when you bite down, that's another chewing muscle. So you can do a little self massage in this muscle on the side. It's hard with the headphones, but yeah, it's like the side of your head, like it's like here. Pull up an anatomy picture at some
Oh
point.
my God, amazing. No,
Interrupted
that's
me.
it. And same with like the vagus nerve and how the vagus nerve is calming. Like when you sing and you hum, like, you can like activate that nerve that runs from your neck all the way down to your, like the bottom of your, kind of like your pelvis, I guess, like the bottom of your
Sacrum.
spine, the sacrum, and how that's like really powerfully healing and how that's like can immediately put you into a state of healing. Sound healing is really popular now with the singing bowls. And we did a whole, I was in Hamlet and I was like Horatio, he's Hamlet's friend. And it was theater in the round. And what that means is like the stage, you had audience pretty much all the way around the stage. So wherever you were, you had to be like very aware of your body. And there wasn't any music, but we used singing bowls and there were aisles that came through the seats, and that's where the actors would come. You'd come through the aisle. This is I'm getting to a point. We would have singing bowls and they were different frequencies and they were different sounds or they were different notes. And depending on like the emotional point of the show, like when Hamlet is like pissed off and he has this huge speech, we were like doing the singing bowls in the background. And it added like, and it was like very dark version of Hamlet with like this, well, okay, what's not a dark version of Hamlet, but it's like with the smoke and the sound and that element of the sound like locked us into like this feeling. Like sound connected to feeling is crazy. And how like the frequency can affect your mood. And now you're seeing that everywhere, like how the frequency of certain songs can like affect your emotional state is wild. And it can be healing too. Like sound bowls are healing in the theater space.
First of all, that sounds really intense being surrounded by
It
the
was
audience.
so intense, probably. Well, I think it was also intense for the audience because the singing bowls were like in the aisles, and so all of a sudden, if you're sitting there, it'd be like, like all. So I think it was like the point was to include the audience in that emotional feeling.
That's super cool. I've actually like, because I know a bit about the vagus nerve from being a massage therapist, and like,
Yes.
yeah, it starts at the base of the skull, connects it to the abdomen, and so to the vagus nerve helps bring the body into rest and digest that parasympathetic nervous system.
Oh,
And
wow.
so stimulating the muscles at the base of the skull or doing abdominal massage helps to calm the nervous system. So that's like what I
Wow.
know about it for my work. I'd never heard of the voice and using your voice activating the
Yeah.
vagus nerve like that. I'd never heard that. That's so
Well, and
interesting.
now there's like the idea that your vocal box has like a direct connection, like for, I don't know about men, but like as women to like our womb space. And so now there's like these different practices you can do with like your womb and your voice and
That's so
how
cool.
like speaking your truth is healing and it's like healing of the womb. It's really, there's like a lot of cool stuff coming out now.
That's super cool. Yeah, I was actually thinking I took voice lessons in 2018, maybe.
Oh yeah.
I took voice lessons a while ago because I'm also a singer-songwriter. Feels more past tense. Haven't done it in a few years, but there was a time where I was like, that was
Yeah.
my thing, was writing music, and I was really self-conscious of my voice. I've always been self-conscious of it. When I was a kid, I had kind of a raspy voice, and so yeah, felt uncomfortable speaking, singing. My voice is still something that I'm doing healing around. So I took voice
Mm.
lessons. Sorry, my cat just jumped on my lap. And
So
then back
cute.
off. Classic. Yeah, so I took voice lessons with this really great teacher at a place called the Voice Lab in Chicago. And I don't know if they still teach there, but shout out to Catherine Werbianski, I, my teacher. And I could barely get a word out, like in my lessons. I could barely get my voice up and down at all. It was so hard for me. And I wrote all these songs and with all and like sang along to it, but I just couldn't do it in front of other
Yeah.
people. And I didn't like how it sounded. And so I went to this teacher and I was like hitting a wall like every day.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, I'm going to turn off the lights. You're going to lie on the floor.
Yeah.
And we put on some ocean sounds. Catherine started playing like a little melody and they would sing along to it, like do 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 on the piano. And
Mhm.
they would sing like, you know, now, wow, I'm embarrassed to do it.
Well, it's
Like,
because it's connecting to, no, this is like so what we're
yeah,
talking about, like the power in these practices in your diaphragm, because you're supposed to sing from your diaphragm, which is lower than your actual, like your voice is up here and your diaphragm is down here, and that's where your sound can come from. And you can feel it better when you're laying on the ground because you're aware of where your breath is coming up with your stomach and you're more relaxed. And if you allow yourself to expand into the sound on the ground, it's only going to help you become a better singer.
wow, I didn't know that at all. I thought they were just like, hey, you need to chill,
Oh
get on
no,
the floor.
it's so when you're on your back, they're like, no more standing for you.
Catherine would sing something and I would sing it back. So they'd be like, oh, oh, oh. And then I would do it, but I was on the floor with my eyes closed and I was just doing it quietly and feeling it in my body.
Hmm.
And singing is so healing. Like
Yeah.
just hearing, you don't have to share it with anyone, but just feeling the vibrations go up and go down in
Mhm.
my belly, in my heart,
Yeah.
making me emotional to think about because it was so, it felt good to sing. That was the first time when I wasn't singing for anyone or for anything or to achieve a goal. It
Yeah.
just genuinely felt good in my body to
Yeah.
sing and to access my voice.
Wow. Yeah.
It was a really powerful experience and
And
I'm really
healing.
grateful I had that. Yeah, it did help heal my voice in
Yeah.
some way. Yeah.
Another thing when you lay down like that, your breath. Somebody that we discussed was Kristen Linklater, if I'm saying that right, Kristen Linklater. We would do exercises that we learned from this vocal coach, and same with my choir teacher, Mrs. Wilbanks. Women, we sometimes, well, we're told to suck in, right? So when you're on the ground, allowing you to take a full breath and expand your belly and allow your belly to be a bulge, like even that is like healing, just allowing yourself to like, just like a little kid, like you're just playing around, like, oh my belly, I'm gonna push it out. Like it's like there's like an inner child element to it. There's just like a, oh yeah, this is just the human body. But doing that physically on the ground to allow that sound to come from your diaphragm and to come from the bottom of your lungs is also like mentally healing, to like allow yourself to stick out your stomach.
That's so cool. I love how this is so connected to like my day-to-day work too. Of like I always tell folks when they first get on my massage table, take a deep breath into your belly, expand your belly on the
Yeah.
inhale is what I'll tell people like or if they're on their back, I'll say like push your belly up into the ceiling. Because when people say deep breath, a lot of times they think like I have to suck it into my lungs
And it's
into
just
my
from here to
chest.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like the actual diaphragmatic getting the benefits of the deep breath is when you're pushing it into your belly.
Yeah, I remember us laying on the floor too, and we would do from the side, like through our ribs. So then they
Whoa.
were like, okay, now this side, you're gonna try to breathe through your left rib. And it was like, what are we doing? And then I'm like, this is why people make fun of theater kids, because we're trying to breathe through our rib. Like, what are we doing?
You're
But
healing through
it's
theater.
healing, and that's like it's healing through that. Yeah, there's a lot of healing through these visualizations, and things that are like symbolic can bring a lot of healing.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's coming to mind with like healing from grief.
Mm.
I was reading online and I also did like these different camps. And one of the camps, we went to the river, and I think there's like an old practice of doing this. I don't know exactly the details. I don't want to like mess it up. I don't know if it's like a tribal practice or where the practice comes from, where you like let your feelings and like you say goodbye on the river. And it had like a better, and I think there was like maybe a study done on it. Oh my God, I really don't want to mess this up. But it's just like having that visualization, having these practices on the floor, doing something that seems like so small, but like going to the river and like visualizing it and like being in the river and like letting something go, or like saying the things you never said into the river and allowing the river to like carry it away. I think it's like more powerful. Like when you're doing these little symbolic gestures or these little theater exercises, or, and I'm using the word little, like it's not little actually, but these things that are maybe deemed as like, why are you doing that? Or what's the scientific reason behind that? Or can you explain the exact details of what's happening in your body when you're doing that? It's like some things just work, and they might seem silly at the time when you explain it to someone else. Like, I don't know why that helped me when I was laying on my back. And it's just something for you. But the bottom line is like, it's healing. And if that heals you, then cool.
Yeah, that practice of like connecting your feelings and your experience into the natural world or into a real thing to
Yeah.
help the process of getting it
Yeah. Or
out
into a
of your
performance,
body.
into like a
Yeah,
singing performance, whatever you're trying to express into, like that modality
it's so
is
cool.
the key. And
I know,
Abbie, I
it's
love your
dilator.
voice too.
Oh, thank
My
you.
dream.
Thank you. I've gotten some compliments when I've done improv from people like, I love your voice. I'm like,
Yeah, I love your voice.
my inner child is like sobbing right now.
Yeah.
You
Really?
know?
It's like the dream voice.
Improv was the first like theater thing I did. I guess some of the voice stuff could, count as like theater in
Mhm.
that way, but it was for like music specifically at the time. But yeah, when I started improv, I like could not get words out. Again, same thing with the singing of like
Yeah.
I remember we did an exercise in like one of my first classes at IO, and we were all standing on the back line, and the teacher was like, world's worst mailman. Okay, each person goes and does or says a thing as the world's worst mailman. I was last in line. I was thinking, couldn't think of anything, was paralyzed. And they got to me and I just said, I don't know. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like I was block, like such a hard block. And everyone's
Yeah.
like looking at me like, what? What do you mean you can't do it?
Try something.
Yeah, and then my teacher's like, just do anything, just step out. And I like did like a fall. I like fell over.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, good, like physical comedy, very good. And I was like, it just showed how blocked I was. And I mean, improv, when you're new to improv, it's like, whoa, it's pretty
It's
scary at first.
shocking. It's shock. It's like shock therapy.
It is exposure therapy for anxiety. Like
Yeah.
it has become one of my greatest healing things for anxiety
Mm.
because it's literal exposure therapy. It's like you're
Yeah.
gonna go out, especially performing improv. Never mind practicing. Practicing when you first get started is hard enough. But
Yeah.
then doing performance, it's like, okay, you're going to willingly put yourself
Mm.
into a situation. We're going to be in front of an audience. You have no idea what's about to happen. You don't know if it's going to be okay. You don't know what you're going to say. You don't know what anyone else is going to say. It's all unknown and terrifying. And you just have to go out there and
Hmm.
and do it and be in the unknown. And it's so awesome. Like it's
Yes.
so terrifying. I get so nervous before a performance, and I've been performing like somewhat regularly for the last 3 years. I
Wow.
still get so nervous before. And then the more you do it, the more you learn to trust. Like,
The
I,
fall.
yeah, like, I'm going to be okay no matter what. When I'm up
Yeah.
there, I'm going to figure it out. Also, the
Yeah.
stakes are so low with improv. It's like sometimes improv's really bad, or a lot of times it's not good. I've done so many bad sets that it's
Yeah.
like, what's the worst that could happen? It's another terrible set. Like,
Right. But it's like so crazy though when you're in it in the moment. You're like, it's like so real. And then you look back, you're like, nah, that was all right.
yeah, but like proving to yourself time and time again that you'll be okay, even if you don't know
Mm.
what's going to happen, has been
Yeah,
like the most healing. And it is that consistency and practice with something like improv to learn how to speak without overthinking,
yeah,
because my whole life, I mean, also just how we're conditioned, especially if
for
you
sure.
are conditioned as female
To repress
and
your
raised as
voice.
female.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like overthink, 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 like filter on filter on filter on filter
Yeah.
before you say anything.
Yeah.
And that's how so many of us grew up and are still living
Yeah.
our lives. And improv's like break down all the filters and just start speaking. And that is so healing, like giving yourself the freedom to do that and just
Hmm.
and letting things go. Like if I have a
Yes.
bad set, it's like that sucked. Okay, move on.
Like see you next week.
Yeah, I'll be back next week. That's what I love
Yeah.
about the intersection between theater and wellness is it's like these exercises and these different performance things can help heal you in your day-to-day life of things you struggle with.
Yeah.
And it's fun to do theater. It's
Yes.
fun to create and step outside of the ordinary run-of-the-mill day-to-day life and
Oh my
create
God. The
something.
joy, the healing and the joy. It's like, oh my God, this is just a fun game. And it's like, that's what's so great about the healing in that way. That's what's so great about improv. It's like, this is just fun. It's supposed to be silly. Like, we don't have to be so serious all the time. Like, healing can be also, in a way, joyful.
Yes. Yeah, my mom had said when I was taking a clowning class, and she was like, clowning,
Yeah.
And she was like, how was class? And I was like, oh, it was so fun, We laughed
Yeah.
really hard about XYZ. And my mom's like, it's so nice that every week you go somewhere where you just laugh. That sounds so nice. And I'm like, yeah, I just take it for granted because this is like what I do in my free time.
Yes.
But that's not what everyone does in their free time.
No.
And it's like, yeah, there's healing in laughter.
That's it. That is it. That's the crux. You just solved it. And that's what I think
You
the
heard it here
like,
first, folks. We
yeah,
solved it. We
healing through
s-
laughter. And laughter can come through improv, it can come through theater, it can come through those communities of like joy and
come
expression.
can come through making up a story with your friend on your long car ride
Yes,
to pass the time. It can come
literally.
from playing board games with your friends. It can come from talking over chat, whatever
Oh my
people
God.
do when they're playing video games,
Yes.
playing D&D.
Oh, D&D too. It's so imaginative.
Oh yeah, D&D and improv there.
My
I was
friends
going
and
to
I
say husband and wife.
did literally, literally, D&D is so imaginative and fun. Friends of mine, like when you're just saying make up stories, a little group and I, we went camping and we were laughing so hard we were crying just about making up a story about this woman named Judy who like had cougars in the mountains and had a shotgun. And the lore of this imaginary woman in this group of girlfriends like got so insane that the campsite next to us came over and were like, "Can you be quiet? You're being annoying." And it was like we were like laughing so hard about nothing and about an imaginary story that we were making up. Like, what? Yeah,
That's incredible.
we got yelled
Make up
at.
stories. Make up stories. You don't have to
Yeah.
write them down. They don't have to be good. Just make them
No,
up.
just play off it. Play off each other. Like play off the joy of like creating something. I think that's the other thing too is there's so much healing in creation. Creating a story, creating Dungeons and Dragons, creating characters, creating I don't know, writing a story, anything.
Can I say something?
Healing and creation, yeah.
I feel like this is the most Leo episode that we'll probably ever do. Like healing through creativity and
Yes.
arts and self-expression. And we both have, do you have Chiron in Leo?
Yeah, I do.
I think we both have Chiron in Leo. and
Yeah.
Chiron, which I want to do a whole episode on Chiron,
Oh,
and
for
Rory Gilmore.
sure we need it. Can we also do an episode on Lilith?
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. I'm gonna be thinking about that now. Chiron, like the wounded healer.
Yeah.
So we'll do a whole episode on it, but it can show us where there's like a wound in your chart in your life
Yeah.
that ends up being a place that you can kind of teach from or become an expert on. And Linz and I both have Chiron and Leo. Mine's very close to
Hmm.
my sun, so my whole identity is a wound. Um,
Because you also have the sun in the first house.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Basically, creativity and self-expression, which are very Leo things, because it always does come back to astrology.
Yes.
Um, uh, Creativity, Leo things of self-expression and being at one with the self and expressing that, and hopefully it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
And that being healing for
Yeah.
yourself and for the world.
Yeah, so maybe this is like homework for the listeners that where is your Leo placement? Where do you need to be more playful and confident and joyful and like creative? In what area of your life can you do that more of?
Oh my God, I have chills. I love that.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
takeaway. And to do
access
something
that
silly.
access that inner child and stop making fun of Brian, the theater kid.
Yeah, yeah.
The theater kids.
The theater kid that was pretending to be a cat. Just let him be a cat, you know?
Go join him or just go get on the
Yeah.
floor with Brian and start
Yes.
crawling around as a cat.
That's exactly it. Like, go dance in public, please. Do something silly.
Lindsay says, "Go dance in public, please." Yeah, that's true.
Please.
Yeah. Thank you,
Cool.
Linz, for taking me on this journey. And
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. I don't know. I love learning about your theater life before I knew you. And
Same. And
yeah,
your improv life. There's so much to learn.
there
Humans are
is so
amazing.
much.
There's so much depth to all of us.
And I love, yeah, I love the connection of healing and art
Yes.
and stuff. So,
To have fun is to be well.
ooh, to have fun is to be well.
Yeah.
We will
That's our
see
that's our
you.
takeaway.
That's our takeaway. If you didn't listen to the episode, just scroll to the end. And Lynn's, wait, what did you just say? I already forgot what it was.
To have fun is to be well.
To have fun is to be well.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will see you next time. Let us know what you think, and
Let us
we'll
know where your
continue.
Leo is.
Let us know where your Leo is. Yeah. And I hope you take an improv class or do voice lessons or do something
Hmm.
fun, creative, theatery. Come join the dark side of the theater, the theater people. All right. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.